Okay, so now we begin the city council portion of this with each candidate having a 2-minute opening statement. Um, and I did mention there's one school board, I think I mentioned there's one school board candidate who's not able to make it, Margaret Allen, but she did provide a video of her 2-minute statement and a 1-minute closing statement that we can share at the appropriate time. She's the candidate who's on an airplane. So we're going to start with Aaron, then Christopher, then John, then Catherine, then Robin. And if I am mispronouncing your name or you go by a different name, let me know. Um, okay, and Gabi, you ready for the clock? Okay, so take it away, Aaron.
Thank you, Brian. Good evening, and thank you all for having me. My name is Aaron Tiedemann. I am a proud member of this club as well as the president, and I'm a lifelong Albany resident. It was the honor of my life to serve on the city council from 2020 until 2024, including serving as mayor in 2023. I'm running this season with Robin Lopez to continue our track record of progressive policy and community leadership. And in my time on council, I was extremely proud to negotiate the city's deal with UC Berkeley that kept our budget whole with $6 million for city services over 10 years, with creating the city's emergency rental assistance program, which has kept dozens of households in their homes, writing the city's gender pay parity policy with Robin to ensure equal pay in city contracting, proposing the city's ethical investment policy that has moved us away from fossil fuel investments and weapon investments, champion the progressive tax measures that we passed, that I worked on with Preston Jordan to fund medical services and street improvements, and much, much more. I am confident that Robin and I can continue to take the lead on the hard issues and deliver the results for Albany that make our city's housing more stable and affordable, give Albany a voice in the transition of Golden Gate Fields, provide the resources we need for core city services, and take strong action to respond to climate change and give our residents meaningful tools to do their part as well. I've devoted my life to civic work in my community via my work on the city council, my day job, doing affordable housing policy with the county, my volunteer work with this club, as well as chair of the city's Housing Advisory Commission and president of the School Board Citizen Bond Oversight Committee. And I believe that our city should be led by strong progressive values, a council that represents every generation and every member of our community, and a willingness to do the work necessary that moves our city forward. I'm looking forward to talking to everyone tonight about my positions, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And I did want to make one quick comment that people should make sure to stay muted, and it's not allowed to have emojis or whatever while people are talking. And but people can save that for at that very, very, very end. Um, okay, next up we have it'll be then Christopher, then John, then Catherine, then Robin. So Christopher. Uh, anyone
Is he online? I thought I
see here?
saw him earlier.
He RSVP'd.
Well,
Okay.
he's welcome.
Um, well, if he shows up, we will fit him in. John.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Destin. I came to this country as an immigrant. I didn't speak the language. We had very little money, and everything around me was totally unfamiliar. What I wanted most to feel like I belonged. And then years later, when I realized I was gay, I had that same sense of belonging, the need for belonging all over again. Those experiences have shaped who I am, including why I'm running for city council. I love this town. This is where I raised my son, built my business, and found my community. And what I want more than anything is for everyone who lives here to have the best quality of life we could possibly give them. I spent years working towards that in different parts of this community. I served 8 years with the Albany Education Foundation. I'm on the YMCA, the Albany Y board. I founded Albany's Pride, which is our LGBTQAI parent engagement group. And today I'm the president of the Albany Community Foundation, where I've served now for 10 years. At the foundation, we help fund shower programs, laundry programs for our unhoused neighbors. We fund Friends of Albany Seniors, the Bear Pantry at UC Village, the Jackson Street mural, other art projects, Black and Latinx graduation celebrations at Albany High. Those all might sound like really different, but to me, they're really all the same thing. It's making people's lives better. That's how I think about city council as well. My focus is Albany and the things that we can actually do here to improve people's lives every day. Safer streets, sidewalks, housing people could afford, healthy local businesses, our parks, trees, public spaces. What's going to happen with Golden Gate Fields and a city budget that allows us all to do all of this responsibly? So I know it's like what is that? Time's up. All right.
Time's up.
Well,
Time's
thank
up.
you.
Okay, thank you. Um, all right. So next up we have Catherine. Catherine, yeah.
I think I am unmuted, aren't I? Okay.
Yes.
My name is Catherine Enos. I grew up in Albany, going to Albany schools. I went to Albany High School, and at that time there was no middle school, so Cornell School and Marin before that. I went on to UC Berkeley and studied history. And for the last few decades until the pandemic, I was mostly in Seattle. But at the time of the pandemic, my mom asked me to come back and take care of the house. So, and of which, I now own it. So I started out as a child and then a student in Albany, and now I'm a homeowner. In the interim, most of my life I've been a tenant, so that's an area that I'm highly interested in. I've been a tenant in Seattle, Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco, and in other places. So I'm very accustomed to tenant issues and would like to see, and I believe these days with the level of gentrification and speculation in housing, a key issue is tenants and landlords being able to, tenants and owners, I believe that they have more in common than issues that separate them. And especially in the fight for affordable housing. Um, I've spent a lot of time working as a technical writer, starting at Microsoft in Seattle, and then in the Bay Area as of late. Another issue I'm interested in is electrification, and but doing it in a way that ensures better compatibility between new infrastructure and
Okay. Thank you. All right. Um, okay. So then next up for their 2-minute opening, I'm going to start using full names. Now we have Robin Lopez.
Hi. Firstly, many thanks to the Albany Democratic Club for hosting this forum. I'm Robin D. Lopez, living my ancestors' wildest dream. My pronouns are he, him, and I do want to apologize in advance for any background noise. My 3-year-old chief of staff is roaming the hallways practicing door knocking at the moment. In 2022, I promised to bring a new era of young leadership in Albany when I first ran that can move our city forward intentionally and responsibly. I moved to the UC Village to pursue my PhD at UC Berkeley in environmental science, policy, and management. And Albany has now been a place where my family has planted our forever roots. Similar to the values of the Democratic Party, I too strive to defend democracy, support grassroots efforts around labor rights, equal and fair opportunities in all sectors, disability and gender identity rights, and racial and social justice. Before serving as the first ever Latino council member and mayor of the city, I had the chance to serve the city of Albany directly as a member of the Social and Economic Justice Commission to address racial equity and youth empowerment. As a member of our city council, I've delivered on core platform promises around empowering the people and advocating for equity focused policy, fiscal health, supporting our local businesses, centering community connection, acting on the realities of navigating a climate crisis, and supporting affordable housing options. All of this done with minimal monetary compensation because effective leadership doesn't answer the money, it answers to the people. To which former Mayor Aaron Tiedemann and I have proven our unmatched and unparalleled experience and qualifications in. A vote for Tiedemann and Lopez is a vote that will sustain real progress and real change that defines what real grassroots actually is. As a person of color, I've navigated many challenging situations, even in elected office, in which my existence is constantly rendered as a threat. The only thing I'm a threat to is the status quo. Albany family and friends, let's keep this magic happening for real change in our city. I'm honored to have the endorsement of Senator Jesse Arreguín, County Supervisor Nikki Fortunato Vaz, former mayors and current council members Preston Jordan, John Mickey, and many other local, regional, and state elected partners and community members. Vote local for Tiedemann.
Okay, thank you. So now we move on
Hello,
to,
I think Chris is trying to get in. I just
okay.
He just
Uh,
joined again from the waiting room. So Chris is.
Thank you. I'll unpin the, okay. Are you able to see the weight room, Gabi?
Yeah, I admitted him. Chris should be here.
Okay.
Chris?
Chris, if you're here, you can unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, good. How you guys doing today?
good. And okay, there we go. So what we're doing right now is thank you for joining us. We
Mhm.
are each candidate is giving a 2-minute opening statement, and then we'll go to questions.
Okay. Well, good
And
afternoon, oh, go ahead.
and I just want and so you're the last one, and then we'll go to the questions.
Okay, should I start now?
You please do.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Chris McDaniels. I'm running for Albany City Council. What I have to offer is a lot of experience that I have acquired through working for the city of San Francisco for 25 years. I've been in Albany for 27 years, and I raised my son here. And I like the way Albany operates, but I can see that there's some areas that I think we can improve on. In my 40-year career, it's always been about continuous improvement. So since I'm a taxpayer here and since I support the businesses on Solano, I think we need to keep that in mind. Continuous improvement should be our line that we take so we can protect our residents and our businesses here. So again, what I bring to the city is 25 years of working for the city and county of San Francisco. I've had 4 mayors that I had to report to, starting with Brown, then Gavin, Ed Lee, and then London Bree. So I feel that my experience will help the city grow and to make sure that we take advantage of every opportunity that is presented to us. Um, I walk the Memorial Park a couple times a week. I talk with the DPW guys and get feedback from them. I get feedback from the businesses that I work with on Solano. I think I'm the right person for the job. My experience makes me overly prepared to deal with all the issues in Albany. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we go to the questions, and we will start with. So we started with Aaron. We're going alphabetically by first name. Gabi, if you could also help me, we're both trying to remember to pin and unpin people. So if you could help with that, if I forget or I'm not able to. Um, so the next person. So Aaron started, and now the next person to start is Christopher McDaniels. And what I said at the beginning was if you go by a different name or I mispronounce your name, let me know. And then we'll have John Destin, Catherine. Is it Enos? I don't know if it's Enos or Enos. Enos um, can let us know, and
Enos.
then Enos. Okay. And then Robin Lopez. So, and then we'll circle back to Aaron for the questions, and then we'll go to the next person. So the first question, which is going to start with Christopher McDaniels, is Albany City Council in 2019 adopted a new climate action and adaptation plan. It declares a climate emergency, stating the city of Albany shares the responsibility to mitigate emissions to reduce the impact of our changing climate. What would you prioritize doing to further the goals of climate action in Albany? And you have 1 minute to respond. And starting with Christopher.
During my time with the city, I worked for the Public Utility Commission. We had monthly meetings with the EPA concerning the same topic. As you guys know, San Francisco is surrounded by water, so it's very important for us to make sure that we prioritize climate change. Also in San Francisco, you know, we're going to electric vehicles. So working with PUC fleet, working with DPW fleet, we have a 3-year plan to possibly convert all of our vehicles to electric vehicles. I did talk with the DPW guys here in Albany. There's a charging issue of some of the smaller equipment that they use. And so we need to improve our infrastructure so we can keep those units charged up for the whole 8-hour day. So those guys won't have to drive back to the yard and get replacement batteries for their tools that they use in the field. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have John Destin.
Okay, first I just want to finish the last one, which is I'm running because I want Albany to be a place where everyone can belong and everyone has the opportunity to have a really good life. Regarding climate, super important here. And here's the thing, we got to continue looking at it more like climate justice, not climate activism. I think there's justice here because the folks that really get the raw deal are the folks that have less money. We need to do the rebates. We need to keep on doing the electrification pilot. We need to do the public EV charging. And we have to look at this as a whole of government approach. So it should not be like some sustainability division. It's got to be across every piece of government and every piece of Albany, because this is way too important. And the last thing I would say is when you take buses away, how do you expect people to drive less when the transportation is not there, the public transportation? So I want to make sure that I would work with the larger group here outside of Albany to make sure that our transportation is there so we can take as many cars off the streets.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Catherine Enos.
Yeah, I agree that the fleet should be transitioned to electric vehicles, and that going for the full day is the best. I think that we should educate residents and encourage a fuller electrification of dwellings for older infrastructure, including knob and tube wired houses. I think we should try to support the transition of them to updated electrical. This will be helpful in eliminating some of the problem or the really exacerbated problems from the adoption of a lot of new technology. I'd like to see a transition from natural gas as much as possible. It's dangerous and hard to support. So.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Robin Lopez.
Yes. So under my term as mayor, we were able to divest from fossil fuels, largely guided from previous leadership, such as Aaron Tiedemann, when advocating for ESG policy that we now have in place. I've continued to support critical rebate programs to encourage climate resilience, rebate programs that have been socially and fiscally responsive to income levels of our residents. I look forward to continuing supporting such endeavors, and I'm committed to hold us and our city accountable to decrease our carbon footprint, encouraging more public EV charging options in our community that are much needed. And especially want to note the fact that the state of California now has more EV charging stations than gas pumps. So the change is already here, and it's on us to keep that wave going, especially here in Albany. Lastly, I look forward to keeping up my work on Ava Energy as a board member, in which we facilitated robust e-bike rebate program, and would love to explore how we can get a bona fide resilient here in our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, on this question, we have Aaron Tiedemann.
Thank you. So the two main emission sources for our city are pretty much always going to be our emissions from energy generation and from transport. The smaller one is actually the energy creation. And like Robin mentioned, we've both worked hard on that on the board of Ava Community Energy, which is our clean energy provider for this region. And while I was on that board, I became vice chair, worked on local programs that reinvested rates back into Albany to create community resilience hubs and work on other things, as well as get us to zero emissions by 2030. On transportation, that's our biggest source of emissions, and it's probably going to be for a very long time. To tackle that, we have to be providing alternate ways to get around than just using a personal vehicle. We have to be encouraging active transportation, encouraging bicycling, and we have to be working to support our public transportation infrastructure. That requires regional cooperation to support our buses as well as BART, and do everything we can to make that possible and invest in local programs.
Thank you. Okay, so next up, we have the next question from the club, and if people have their own questions, they can message me or Gabi in the chat, Gabi Beatty or Brian Martin in the chat. We have the question suggestions. The city has a regional quota of facilitating the construction of over 1,100 homes in a rather short amount of time. Some residents are insecure in their own housing or wonder how grown children or their grandparents could afford to move near if they wanted to. If elected, how would you work to address housing in Albany? And we start now with John Destin.
So this is a great question because, like you said, there are about 1,100 homes that we're on the hook for by 2031. And I feel like, there have been some experts helping to make this happen, but we're nowhere near close to achieving that. And the problem is, if we don't achieve this, then the state is going to take over and they're going to be telling us how to run it. And I know we don't want that. So we need to really start working with developers, builders. We need to build better relationships with them. And we need to really get this going, because homes built is really what we need, not just approvals. We also need to ensure that staff is fully resourced and responsive to builders with their applications. We got to work through Cal cities with elected officials statewide to get housing policies that better reflect individual cities' needs. And we have to figure out, where is this going? Is this going on San Pablo, Solano, spaces in the neighborhood? I've been talking to a lot of folks and I've been doing a lot of listening since I launched my campaign. And I feel like that is the key to understanding and making this happen and work.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Catherine, then Robin, then Aaron, then Christopher. So Catherine Enos.
I'd like to see an effort that combines different kinds of housing and different kinds of housing, including that gives people more choices, including not just large buildings, but also housing where single family homes where there's lots available, or also regular apartments, low income housing, using whatever land is available. And I think that it would be important to really talk to people in the community to see what kind of housing they'd like to see, instead of having it be simply driven by profit, by people who profit off of construction. So
Okay, thank you. Next is Robin Lopez.
Yeah, I just want to say that in my first term, I had proven myself in supporting the opening up of many affordable housing options. And one of them did come to fruition while I served as mayor. Again, largely many kudos to city staff and their creativity in working with Saha to get the development on Cleveland. We were able to witness many more folk be able to afford to live in Albany. 62 units, though, does not solve the problem. Thankfully, we have a housing element in place that provides that framework. And our city staff has been making great strides in working with our developers, making sure that they have their permits and everything else that they need in place to hit the ground. Right now, there are things that are just beyond our control as city council members and as city staff, but the framework is there, and we already are very much well aware of where the housing is likely to happen. It's just a matter of when the developers choose to make that happen.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next up, we have Aaron Tiedemann.
So housing is my number one issue. It's what I work on in my day job. And I want to be clear that our RENA challenge is not unique to Albany. Everybody in the Bay Area, everyone in California is facing high RENA numbers and has also faced not achieving those numbers in pretty much every cycle. We're not going to get taken over by the state if we fail to meet those, but it will mean that people won't be able to afford to live here, either if they're kids growing up here and want to stay around their families, or if they want to move here into our schools or anything like that. We have taken strong stances to increase housing. We have a great housing element, which showed that we have lower building permits and faster turnaround times than many of our neighbors. And that's partly why we've permitted a substantial number of those units. It's just like Robin said, the market conditions are against us right now. So we have to create the conditions that will create housing in the long run. And that means more projects like the San Pablo Avenue specific plan, which we passed while I was on council, to make densification possible in Solano, as well as in the rest of the city in infill ADUs and lot splits and other
Okay,
things that can make density happen.
all right, thank you. And lastly, on this question, we have Christopher McDaniels.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I've seen some new low income housing built along the freeway there. I think we need to take a closer look at the net cost of those joint projects. I think if you break up the individual units, you would be surprised how much those units are costing us. The other area I would like to discuss is people moving to Albany. We need to work on our tax base and make sure that we're thinking forward to make sure that we can manage that a little bit better because as you all know, property tax is a big factor in folks moving to our town. So I think if we can focus on that, we can do a better job. And I'm committed because I'm a homeowner here, and I want to make sure that we're looking at that, managing that, and thinking progressively for the future. We had some opportunities here in Albany that we didn't take care of that could have helped us in that regard. And I think we need to go forward and make sure that next time those offers are made, that we take advantage of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is going to start with Catherine Enos, then Robin Lopez, then Aaron Tiedemann, then Christopher McDaniels, then John Destin. So, and this one is that the city budget and Albany residents and Albany business owners benefit from a thriving business community. What would you do to help attract and retain businesses in Albany? And so we start with Catherine Enos. And you're muted. You may begin.
Brian, she had put a thing up that her internet is updating and she's kind of stuck.
I have no audio. Oh,
Right.
okay. I
Can you
cannot
use her
unmute.
live for right now?
I see. I see that. Thank you for the heads up on that.
Sure.
And let me see if there's something we can do on our end here. Gabi, can you see if there's something you can do on our end?
I was trying to unmute her. I don't think I was. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think I can. Maybe.
I saw
Hopefully.
it. I saw it
Oh,
unmute for a
okay.
moment. Yeah.
I think you're
Oh
unmuted,
wait, I
Catherine.
think she's unmuted now.
Go ahead, Catherine. You can speak.
Oh, she just
You
muted
muted
herself again.
again.
Uh,
It unmutes, and then when she tries to speak, it goes back to mute.
Yeah,
huh.
technology's great.
Okay, Catherine. Oh,
Oh, it's
And
yeah,
unmuted, but
we
we
it's
can't
can't
hear
unmuted,
hear
but we
her.
her.
can't see her. Hear her.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't you keep trying, Catherine, and if we will.
Um, well, if I could suggest Zoom, I've run into bugginess like this with Zoom before. Well, maybe she had just did this. I think she just went off. I found if I
Oh,
go
just
off and I come back in, sometimes it
come back
solves that
in.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah, log out and reboot, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, I see Amy suggests that.
Okay. Um, so
Next.
all right, let's go to Robin Lopez for this. And again, the question was the city budget and Albany residents and Albany business owners benefit from a thriving business community. What would you do to help attract and retain businesses in Albany?
Yeah, and I know I only got 1 minute. Just want to excuse my son banging on the door right now.
Oh,
In terms of supporting our local businesses and how that assists with our city and economic opportunity, I do want to emphasize again. While I served on council, I did heavily support the use of our business development grants for our local businesses that were coming and occupying spaces that were previously empty. Um, and I'm a major supporter of our local businesses and making sure I check in with folks and answering their questions. I, constantly engage with many of our local business owners on that front. In terms of things moving forward in the future, I will emphasize that we do have a ballot measure up to vote on for the voters that could help alleviate some of the stress and the strains on some of our smaller businesses that makes it more equitable so our businesses know and understand that we value them and we want them to stay here. So with that said, um, thank you.
okay. All right, thank you. Um, next up, oh, Catherine, you want to try again?
I may have control now.
Yes,
Um,
you do. And so the question was about supporting and retaining businesses in Albany.
um, well, I think that then we need to let them have a lot of input into whether, the possibility of a bike lane on Solano for starters. We probably also might want to reconsider or, I, revising the licensing structure may not be the best thing for encouraging businesses on Solana. Um, Beyond that, making sure that Solana is very walkable um, and has adequate parking, of course, with also good layouts and curbs for disabled access.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Aaron Tiedemann.
So, in terms of what to do to attract and retain businesses, I think we're doing it in large part. When I was growing up in Albany, the upper part of Solano really had a lot more going on, and the lower part in the Albany bit was kind of sleepy. And now it is completely reversed. And I think we have one of the most successful commercial corridors in the Bay Area. When I've been asked about this by people in the region, I think there's two main answers. One is that we have a fantastic support system of our staff have really made the effort to reach out to businesses, to know them personally, and to support them. Our business grant program that we approved while I was on council has been a huge part of that to allow people to do minor repairs when they need to and to keep them in and help them deal with financial emergencies. I think the other biggest part is that we have a walkable, accessible neighborhood in Albany. That is the great thing for businesses. So however we can support that by helping out with sidewalk pavements, by making bicycle infrastructure accessible, by just helping people access our main street, that's what we can do.
Okay, thank you. And then next on this question is Christopher McDaniels.
Yes, good afternoon. I think what we can do for the businesses is to, like mentioned before, is to take a look at the tax rate to help them out. We already know that businesses are suffering right now and going through a lot of changes that are outside of our city. So we should be sensitive enough to maybe have a regular town hall meeting with all the businesses. I know there's smaller uh, meetings taking place, but have a town hall meeting with all the businesses and check in with them and see what they think that we need to do for them. Sometime in politics, we lose the idea that we work for the people that we serve. And so if we walk the walk, we have to talk the talk. And I think that constant communication with them would develop a better relationship and they won't feel some kind of way to talk to us about the issues that they have. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up on this question, lastly on this question is John Destin.
Yeah, so this is something, near and dear to me because I've had an Albany small business since 2009, and I've very connected to the small business community. I think there's some things I would agree with that I've heard here, that certainly Lower Solano is definitely the place to be now versus maybe where it was a few years ago. But I think the problem is only looking at Solano. There's also San Pablo. There's lots of places where we got to help our businesses. We've got to help them, support them with their outdoor dining. We have to support them working with the chamber, the Albany Chamber, the Solano Association. And I think I disagree that it's been such a smooth experience. At least when I talk to small business owners around town, I think we could actually do a lot better. And I feel like maybe creating some sort of concierge where it's a one stop where the small businesses could pick up a phone and they get somebody, or their feedback or their thoughts don't go into the into the ether.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now for the next question. This is the topic that the club has prepared and other people have mentioned, sent to us to ask about is related to the sale of Golden Gate Fields to a tax exempt entity to turn it into a regional park. Appears to be moving forward. The city website says the closure and sale would result in roughly $2 million annual loss in revenue for the city. The city council recently put some measures on our November ballot um, for that, if approved, would shift the tax burden to make up for lost revenue. Um, if those ballot measures fail to pass in November and the city sees a deficit, what would you prioritize um, the city to do to balance its books? Thank you. So for this, we start off with Robin Lopez, then to Aaron Tiedemann.
Yeah, so first, I'll state that in terms of balancing the budget, no matter how difficult the situation may be, it may present itself, that is not impossible. We were able to get a balanced budget while I served as mayor in Albany, and again, large part thanks to our city staff and their creativity. But I also just want to emphasize that the revenue loss from Golden Gate Fields has already been felt. That happened years ago. Thanks to the work of Council Member Preston Jordan and former Mayor Aaron Tiedemann, we were able to recoup some of that creatively in different ways, such as, for example, how Tiedemann had referenced UC Berkeley, which I can let him elaborate a bit more on. But in terms of where we're at with current ballot measures, we stand to benefit significantly if Measure P and Q pass to preserve some of the funding that we are anticipating losing here. If those don't pass, again, like I emphasized when I opened up, I'm open to all creative options and working with city staff.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Aaron Tiedemann.
So, like Robin mentioned, our general funding from the operation of Golden Gate Fields had been dwindling for a long time before it closed. And luckily, when it closed, we were in the final stages of finalizing our deal with UC Berkeley that I negotiated to contribute to our core city services. So we did not experience a loss from that. So we have a history of dealing with this problem. The measures that are on the ballot now are restructuring our special taxes, basically the little over $1 million that we get from the just Golden Gate Fields being owned by a private entity that goes to support special taxes like emergency medical services, libraries, and some other stuff, and storm drains. We're taking proactive action. I'm really happy with the council for doing that now. I think the school board will probably be next in taking care of their part because they also have about $1 million from that. I think those taxes will pass. If they don't, then we'll have to take a look at other ways to restructure those special taxes because we will have a hole. But I feel very confident, especially because they are progressive and they really make our city whole and address the proximate issue.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Christopher McDaniels.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very disappointed in the situation that we're in with Golden Gate Fields. I think progressive planning or strategic planning would have helped us avoid the situation that we're in. Now we are dependent on the residents to go one way or the other. But strategic planning means planning ahead. I don't think, I think we knew that they were leaving. And so once we got that message, we should have been um, seriously thinking about how do we replace those dollars to prevent having the residents or the businesses help us cover that cost. We have to be financially responsible for our town. And that means everybody has to be on the same accord. Progressive thinking, proactive thinking, those type of things are key in making sure we take care of our residents. We have to do it. We have to be responsible for things like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next is John Destin.
Yeah, I would say ditto on that. Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, you would think we live in two different Albanys because I feel like there has really not been much proactivity. I feel like all of a sudden it's like we discover that, this is possibly going to be sold. And now what do we do? What we do is we tax everybody. The fact is we need this, right? That we need that income, and a couple of these are not new taxes. The problem though is I don't know if that should be the first place we go. And I think we have a generous community here. And, I haven't made a decision on every single one of them as far as what I'm going to support or not. We do need it, but I'll tell you my promise, I'm on city council. This will be the last place I want to go. I want to look under every rock to figure out how do we solve this. And I feel like we had a lot of time, and I'm not sure they actually paid out for us right now.
Okay, thank you. And lastly on this, we have Catherine Enos.
Hi. I think that well, we have most of the package of the ballot measures all are added taxes, which are certainly not going to be favored by a lot of people. Um, and there's an ongoing structural deficit that has been affecting Albany for some time. I think it may be appropriate not just to try and to continue to make up these structural deficits, but to try and talk more widely using the town hall format or other means of communication with residents about what priorities they want to see. The city council and the city pursue. Um, you know, there may be services, there may be changes that people can support that will also save money. Um, but this, just continuing to, uh,
Okay,
that's fine.
thank you. All right, so that is it for that question. And let's see. Um, the next question is um, there are a number of issues in Albany that require working closely with other government entities. For example, Golden Gate Fields transition, UC Village, AUSD, and also adjacent cities when there's alternative transportation infrastructure involved. How does your own lived experience inform how you would work to negotiate and coordinate with outside groups? Oh, sorry. And we start with, um, I think we started with Robin on the last one. Is that right? We did?
That's correct.
Okay. And so next we start with Aaron Tiedemann.
Thank you. I think this is a really important question, especially given how little we're going to see in terms of support from the federal government. It's going to become more important than ever that we are joining hands regionally to advocate for resources, to coordinate responses, and to deal with some of the big issues. That is something that Rob and I are really prepared to do. We have a history of cooperative, strong relationships with members of the elected bodies of our other cities, of our neighboring cities, of working regionally on some of our biggest issues like energy and housing when I was on AVA and ABAG, and of working with our own cooperative elected officials in the city, like the school board, which I currently work with on the school's bond oversight committee. So we absolutely can do this, and I think it just takes building those strong relationships, leaning into the regional measures and the regional bodies that take a lot of work, but are worth it for us to
Okay.
get involved.
Thank you. Next up, Christopher McDaniels.
During my time in San Francisco, I developed peer groups, including LA, San Diego, San Jose, Oakland, to discuss common issues that we had. And I found that one step really brought our folks together and we shared information. And what was created from there is we decided to have different summits, paving summit, cleaning summit. So we invited those people back to San Francisco to discuss those issues. I think that's one great way to reach out to other cities and counties to get their sense and take on whatever issue we're challenging with. Oakland just had a convention for homelessness and cleanliness on the streets of Oakland, and there was about 30 different cities there. I don't remember seeing Albany there, but I was there. That's one way you can get our county folks involved, develop a personal relationship with them, and get stuff done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have John Destin.
So this is what I do for a living. This is my sweet spot. I work with companies and I help them bring partnerships together. And that is also translated to the work that I've done here in Albany when I'm working with the Community Foundation as their president, or when I'm created Albany's Pride, which is the LGBTQAI parent engagement group. And you can imagine the reason I started that is because there was nothing out here. And for such a progressive town, all we do is really fly a flag. And I think that there's other opportunities. And I feel like we needed to support our students. And that's why I started it. And it's such a diverse group because you're talking about all sorts of different people coming together. And that's never an easy challenge, but that's what I do in business. And that's what I do in my personal.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Catherine Enos.
I think we should regard outside groups as our partners and learn from them and work with them, and find opportunities to cooperate and perhaps share services even, and see if that can help us to lower certain costs.
Go ahead. But that's it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Robin Lopez.
Yeah, I really appreciate this question because this is an opportunity for me to put things out there that I don't typically get the space to share here, and especially around lived experience. I grew up in nearby Richmond, California. I remember coming to Albany and being criminalized for simply existing in the skin that I exist in. I've experienced firsthand disenfranchisement, being displaced, separated from family and close friends. I've uh, been through quite a bit, and I never allowed that to deter me And in fact, these experiences are what intersect upon how I approach policy and reform. For example, I would never entertain working for entities that contaminate or drop raw sewage in our ecosystem or contribute to the displacement of folk by enabling short-term rentals to be more visible or villainizing people for simply existing. My progressive track record speaks for itself, and it's solidified with the endorsements I've highlighted earlier because I work intentionally with our fellow elected leaders and community leaders to catalyze change.
Thank you. So that finishes that question. And the next question is one from the public. It from someone in the chat is said Albany is feels unaffordable. What could you do to help with affordability in Albany? And for that, we start with Christopher McDaniels.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I think it goes back to how we manage the city and how we make sure that the taxpayers are taken care of. Part of living and buying in Albany, you have to consider what your taxes is going to be as far as affordability. So, in order to do that, we're going to have to work extremely hard to get our taxes adjusted so that more folks could live here. Uh, Fortunately, I've been here for almost 28 years, and when I bought my house, it was relatively affordable based on that time. So we have to think forward. We have to be creative. We have to work with our partners and try to figure this out. I know it's a regional thing, but I don't care about the region right now. I care about Albany, and that's what I want to serve as the people of Albany. So I hope we can get to that point where we can get folks to be able to afford to live here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have John Destin.
This is really the question of the day. Affordability is obviously a problem that is not just in Albany, but it's really everywhere in this country. And that's why I'm really concerned about currently just throwing some measures out there to tax our folks. That should not be always the first option. And sometimes it feels like that's just the easy option. And like I said, this is a very generous community, but I'm concerned that these are things we need, and there's got to be more creativity put into the thinking here. And I think it just comes down to judgment. And I think we need to really think about, who do we want to be making those calls and how deep do we want to look, or is it just kind of looking at the easy way out? So I think we need to really reconsider that.
Sorry, I was muted. Next up, we have Catherine Enos.
Yeah. Alongside finding ways to cut costs and balance the budget, I'm interested in so far as affordability, housing is always the most expensive item for people. Um, I'd like to see a combined approach that includes new construction as well as facilitating backyard ADUs. We already have ADUs, I know, but more is better. Um, Affordable housing in whatever form possible, be it tiny houses, large buildings, real estate co-ops. I'd like to see anti-displacement protections for existing residents. Speculation and gentrification only increase costs for everyone. So, I mean, though, if we want affordability, then we need to put some controls on speculation. And some of these could come in the form of resale restrictions.
Okay, thank you. And next up, we have Robin Lopez.
Yeah, first, I just want to highlight that a couple of our ballot measures offer opportunities for immediate tax exemptions, and I think it's important for folks to be aware of that. especially if folks are running for city council, to know what the current council has been laboring through. No ballot measure is created in a day. That's one front in addressing affordability. On the taxation side, what we do need to address are the auxiliary issues of living in this community, such as basic needs. Having access to basic needs is a force multiplier. I won't labor or digress too much in that, but I think it's very fundamentally clear how that is a force multiplier. We have an opportunity to elect leaders who can steer our city towards affordable housing options that could be coupled with supporting basic social services. I'd love to see more nonprofit housing development partnership that we've had, such as Saha, that are creating these true opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, on this one, I believe we have Aaron Tiedemann.
So, like Robin mentioned, one of the big things we can do and have been doing here is that all of our tax measures that we've passed recently are progressive, and often they have exemptions for lower income or senior residents. That is the main thing that I have worked on since I was elected to council with Preston Jordan. It has been a big focus to make sure that those are making sure that people pay in proportion to what they can and not overtaxing anyone. So we have been really working on that as a city, and I think we've done a good job. To make Albany more affordable, a big thing is housing supply, like we talked about earlier. The only way to permanently bring down our rents is to make more housing built, and we have to do that across the region, but we can take meaningful action like we mentioned earlier in Albany. We also have to have social programs that help people who are really struggling, because we can target that to people who need it. And we have stuff like that. We have, food programs, we have outreach, we have the rental assistance program that I started when I was on council that's helped people avoid displacement. We can have more tenant protections that can help people avoid displacement and deal with rising costs.
Okay, thank you. And I believe that was it for our last question. Um, what we have next is a closing statement from each candidate, and each candidate has 1 minute to close for us and make their case. And I believe we started with Christopher McDaniels on that last one, so that last question. And so for this, we start with John Destin.
Thank you to the club for hosting tonight, my fellow candidates, and of course, my neighbors watching here in Albany. But here's the real truth. 2 years from now, the council will be voting on things nobody asked about tonight. So this election really isn't about positions or platforms. It's about judgment. And judgment comes from lived experience. I came to this country with nothing. I've been a renter. I've been a homeowner, a teacher, a nonprofit leader, a small business owner, a single dad who raised his son in our schools. When housing, schools, small business, budget, or belonging come before this council, I won't have to imagine what the stakes are. I've lived them. And I'll govern the way I've campaigned, by listening and by bringing the council to you, the senior center, the schools, the neighborhoods. And I feel like we should have talked more about seniors tonight, but I'm looking forward to October 1st with the League of Women Voters in person. And I'm happy to have as many more of these conversations with the other candidates as possible. So thank you. And I hope you rank me number one. And if I'm number two, I'd be honored to take that as well.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Catherine Enos.
Yeah, my key issues are housing and electrification infrastructure concerns. I'd like to see more transparent and open government with people having other ways to voice their opinions. I'd like to see greater support for residents through education, greater inclusion of the views of residents through town halls. I'd like to find other ways I'd like to have a comprehensive housing program that isn't just build, baby, build, but actually includes other controls on speculation, and helps to make things more equitable across the market. Simply creating new construction is not going to do anything. It will have some effect, but overall, the impact is not what we need. And
Okay,
Okay,
thank
thanks.
you. All right. Next we have Robin Lopez.
Yeah. Thank you for all those in attendance and for those taking the time to watch this recording. I sincerely hope I can earn your trust again to lead our city for another 4 years alongside Aaron Tiedemann. For candidates intending to be entrusted with decision making, I want to emphasize it's important to understand how city government functions entirely. There's a reason all current council members fully support all ballot measures before us in November because we did the work and explored those creative options. As I said earlier, no ballot is created in a day. As the only candidates with experience in local government, now is not the time to miss out on opportunities to ensure our city is represented by folks with solid qualifications and existing powerful relationships that will serve the interests of our city and community members in the most impactful ways possible. We're here to serve everyone in our community. If you want to learn more, visit us at albanyforward.org. Consider hosting us for meet and greets, requesting yard sign, donating, or creative ways to volunteer. Lopez and Tiedemann, we are real progressive, real grassroots, real Albany. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you. Next up we have Aaron Tiedemann.
So thank you everyone for participating in the forum tonight, especially your officers who helped put it together. I've been really honored to receive the club's endorsement in each of my past elections. I hope to receive it again for this season. As the federal government has increasingly retreated from some of its core responsibilities, I think it's more important than ever that we embrace our progressive values, the ones that define our community, and elect leaders who can take meaningful action. Robin Lopez and I are the best candidates for this race to hit the ground running, to make Albany stronger by cooperating with our neighbors and higher representatives, and to push forward the policy that will make meaningful change. That's why I'm proud to have been endorsed by not just our local representatives, like our council members John Mickey and Preston Jordan, our school board president Josh Mahoney, and school board trustees Becky Hopwood and Sadia Khan, but our state senator Jesse Araguin, our former state senator Nancy Skinner, and our board of supervisors representatives Nikki Fortunato Bass, as well as a bunch of others. If anyone has more questions or would like to get in touch, they can visit our site, albanyforward.org, or email me directly at aaronforalbany@gmail.com. And thank you. I hope you will join me.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Christopher McDaniels for your 1-minute closing statement.
Yes, good evening again, everyone. The reason why I'm running is because I want to improve Albany. I've been here for 28 years. My wife and I are very committed. She worked in the schools for PTA, and I coached Little League for many, many years. We want Albany to continue to grow. As I mentioned before, continuous improvement is the name of the game. What I bring is a lot of experience from the big city, and I think I could help the smaller city grow and be better every single day. There's some issues that I see that are in the forefront that I know that can help the residents and the businesses, and I need a chance to prove that. Albany is a great town. We need to keep it that way. Integrity, experience, commitment is what I bring to the table. I'm here every day and I'm ready to serve. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. And with that, we close the city council portion, and we thank our candidates for being here for that and sharing their thoughts and putting a face to the name that the public will see on their November ballot. And hopefully we will see many of you out there in other events and things. And much appreciated for your participation here. Next up, we have Albany School Board, and it's going to be the same format. The candidates will have 2 minutes starting statement and opening statement, and then we'll go to 1-minute response for questions, and then a 1-minute close. As I mentioned at the very beginning, early on, we have a one candidate with a hard stop. She says she has to catch an airplane from England back here. So we appreciate people they're trying to make this work and making that happen. And we have another candidate, Margaret Allen, who said she is on and will be. I mean, she told us previously she will be on an airplane during our meeting, so she is not able to attend. But she shared a video statement for her 2-minute opening and 1-minute closing, and so I will be attempting to do a screen share of those. Okay, so we're going to go again alphabetical by first name. And so the order here for school board will be Becky Hopwood, then David McKinney, then Josh Mahoney, and then I'll play the video from Margaret Allen, and then Melissa Boyd.
And
So
if you weren't here,
yeah,
just to let the candidates know, if you weren't
yeah.
here for the city
Thank
council,
you.
I'm running the timer, so it'll be up in the corner of my field. You'll see. So it'll be
Yes,
up.
and I'm Brian Martin, an officer in the club, and Gabi Beatty as well, officer at large. Gabi's the treasurer and has been doing the membership issues as well. And he's doing the timing for the meeting. And if you have questions for the candidates, please do submit them to me or to Gabi, Brian Martin or Gabi Beatty. And we will, we've already received a few. And with that, let's, oh, and I did want to mention with electeds, we had our mayor, Peggy McQuaid, and a city council member, Preston Jordan, were here earlier. They may still be. And then since then, we've also had another city council member, John Mickey, who is or was with us. And if there's any other electeds here who are not running for office, let us know. Okay. You can put in the chat too if you are. So again, it'll be Becky Hopwood, then David McKinney, then Josh Mahoney, then I'll play the video for Margaret Allen, then Melissa Boyd. So we will start with Becky Hopwood with your 2-minute opening.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Currently in the UK, as Brian just mentioned, preparing to fly back in a few hours, and it's around 4:30 in the morning, so I apologize. I'm a little bleary-eyed. I'm Becky Hopwood. I'm running for re-election to the AUSD School Board. I moved to Albany from the UK 24 years ago with my husband and my then 3-year-old daughter, and lived in the UC Village for the first 2 years, during which time my twin son and daughter were born. My older daughter is now 27, the twins are 22, and they all attended Albany public schools from kindergarten through 12th grade before going on to California public universities. I have volunteered extensively in our schools and community, spending 2 years in the middle school site council, 4 years in the high school site council, and 6 years as secretary of school care. I was a writer coach for 10 years, both at Albany Middle School and De Anza High School in Richmond, as well as countless hours in classrooms, libraries, and on field trips. So I really know the district from 18 years as a parent and volunteer, and now as a board member for almost 4. I'm a former registered nurse and midwife, and I've brought that same commitment to listening, problem solving, and caring for people to my work on the board. As a board member, I helped lead the successful campaigns for Measure G and Measure L that secured critical funding for our schools. I've served as both board president and vice president, and I've worked to provide stability and thoughtful leadership through significant transitions in our district. Looking ahead, I want to build on the progress we've made. We need to continue improving academic outcomes, particularly for students who have historically been underserved, support student well-being, strengthen teaching and learning, advance equity and inclusion, and make sure our resources are aligned with our priorities. I'm running for re-election because I believe deeply in public education and in Albany. I'm proud of the work we've done, but there's much more to do. I would be honored to continue serving our students, families, amazing educators, and community, and would be grateful for your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have David McKinney.
Hello, I can be heard. Yes, just making sure.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Albany, and thank you to the Democratic Club for hosting us and inviting us all to speak here tonight. My name is David McKinney, and I would like to serve our community as a member of the school board. I'm dedicated to education. I have a master's degree in teaching secondary science from Columbia University Teachers College, which enabled me to teach middle school science and math in New York City for 8 years. I also served as the union chapter leader at my school for 3 of those years. After teaching, I pursued and earned a doctorate in education at the Johns Hopkins University School of Education. Since I graduated in 2019, I've worked as an education researcher, working to understand how kids best learn in STEM learning environments and how to support student motivation. I'm also dedicated to Albany. My family moved here in 2022, and we immediately fell in love with this community. My 6-year-old is currently enrolled in Cornell Elementary, and I cannot wait to see her progress all the way through to graduate from Albany High. I believe that education is one of the most important ways that we as a society can help our community members. This is why I've dedicated my adult life to education and why I would like to help our community by serving on the school board. My priorities as a school board member will be academic rigor that appropriately challenges each of our students, engages them in deep thought, deep learning, providing enriching educational opportunities that allow students to find and pursue their passion, and supporting student belonging and well-being to ensure that our students not only succeed, but thrive. I also recognize that the resource limitations that AUSD must grapple with when we are making decisions. As a school board member, I will ensure that we are fiscally responsible. In my current job, I manage millions of dollars in project budgets and collaborate with talented teams of researchers to ensure that projects are completed on time, as expected, and within budget. I'll bring those skills to bear as we work to create a budget that uplifts all of our students while avoiding deficit spending. This will be vitally important as the district embarks on creating and then enacting an implementation plan for the facilities master plan developed over the last couple of years that I'm sure many of you gave some feedback on. My experience as an educator, researcher, and parent give me knowledge and perspectives, and I humbly ask you for your vote this November. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Josh Mahoney.
Hi, I'll do the obligatory. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for hosting this evening. My name is Josh Mahoney, and I'm running for re-election to the Albany School Board. I'm running because since the pandemic, I've really wanted to focus on things that are more meaningful to me personally and have more of an impact on the world around me. I've been fortunate to have two kids who've gone through the Albany schools. My youngest just graduated this past spring. And I come from a community, I come from a family of educators. My mother was a special education teacher, a speech pathologist, and worked in as a labor negotiator for the union. My aunt worked at the Office of Special Education Projects at the Department of Education. I started my career as a math teacher in Northern Alabama before going to the University of Maryland, where I did research on the use of technology by students with disabilities. And then I worked on the Hill, at an educational nonprofit before we came out here. Once the pandemic hit, it was really about me getting back to some of my roots, and education became one of those things that kind of clear at the forefront. I've been committed in terms of working on things like Measure L, in terms of raising money for the funding of our facilities, and that becomes one of my three kind of main focuses for this campaign. First is facilities. With Measure L, I was able to see the needs that our schools have for all of our schools to have an environment that is conducive for learning, and it's really uneven across the board. Secondly, I'm really focused on finances. It's not really sexy, but California funding for schools in California is sort of nuts. And with fixed income, and actually in our case, losing some income with the departure of the Golden Gate Fields revenue, every dollar counts. And I don't want to lose control of our district like some of our neighboring districts have done. And then last but certainly not least, I'm focused on equity and student achievement. 1 in 4 kids in Albany are not at standard for reading, and 1 in 3 are not at standard for math. And it's most important, most impactful in our historically marginalized groups. So,
Okay.
Love to work on it.
Thank you. All right. Next, I am going to attempt to play the opening statement from Margaret Allen. Again, she said she's on a plane right now. She told us in advance and apologized for not being able to be here in person. And so here's her 2-minute opening statement. And oh gosh. All right. So, Gabi, can you let me know if this doesn't work?
We can't hear it. I don't think we can hear it.
Okay. All right. So I'll try a little bit longer and then we will.
I think it's in audio settings. You can determine whether a video plays audio through your channel or not. I think.
Under audio.
Yeah.
Let me see. Audio. Theme is speaker. Brian's Acer MacBook Air speaker. Select a speaker. Switch to phone. Leave audio settings. Same as. Okay. Let's see. Test speaker and microphone. The phone audio, original sound for musicians. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, let me try. Let me try this. Okay. Um, okay, so let me know again if you can hear.
No.
No. Okay. All
We
right.
got it earlier when we were practicing.
Yeah, you could hear it when I did it before. Let me take my AirPods out, and because that might do something. And then after this will be the last attempt for now. Um, so now let me go to this and that. Okay, so let's try this. Opening statement. And if this doesn't work, we'll put them up on the page that has the candidate responses, their survey responses.
I'm Margaret Allen, and I'm running for Albany School Board. I apologize for not joining you live today due to a previously scheduled family commitment. Like so many of you, I love Albany, and I believe our public schools are the heart of this community. As a finance professional managing multi-year financial planning and a parent with young kids, both at Ocean View Elementary and at Albany Children's Center Preschool, I can offer executive financial skills alongside a hands-on daily perspective to our school's current needs. I also bring direct district experience through my service on the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee and the Ocean View School Site Council. I'm running for school board to focus on 3 key priorities. First is long-term fiscal strength. Our schools need close financial management to optimize revenue from state funding, local taxes, and bonds. This means taking action to avoid annual budget deficits today while saving and planning for our district's long-term health, ensuring every dollar directly supports classroom learning so our students can flourish. In short, making every dollar work for the student. And second, listening to our educators and our community. Our schools are excellent because of our excellent teachers and support staff. I'm committed to engaging directly with those on the front lines of instruction, as well as our parents, grandparents, and community members, those who know our kids best. I will use these insights to inform our board's decisions, staying centered around our students, striving to have every voice heard. And third, equity, safe facilities, and excellence across all 6 campuses. From ACC and our 3 elementary campuses to our middle school and our high school, I will advocate for well-maintained facilities and collaborative master planning to ensure every student has equal access to a safe, supportive, and fun learning environment that prepares them for lifelong success. Safe schools and equal opportunity for every child. I bring proven financial oversight, a deep appreciation for our educators, and a parent's dedication. I thank you for listening, and I would be honored to earn your endorsement.
Okay, so sorry for that technical glitch there. We tested it before and I didn't have my AirPods in, and that was like the magic ingredient, apparently. And lastly, on this, the opening statement, we have Melissa Boyd.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me the chance to address the club this evening. I am Melissa Boyd, running for election onto the school board. I am currently a board member. I served on the board from 2020 to 2024, at which point I was endorsed by the club, which I very much appreciated. And I'm currently on the board. It's been a year. I filled in when somebody left their term early. I have lived in Albany for 13 years with my family. I have 2 daughters, both of whom are in the high school this year. They have spent their entire career, their school career in Albany. I love this community. We love the schools and the importance of public education as an equalizer to allow all of our students and our children the chance to thrive and to be successful in our society can't be overstated. I have practiced for 15 years as a corporate attorney and am now training and advising attorneys. I bring that up because having that training has given me the ability to approach problems with a level, sort of rational, reasonable mindset, and it's an important thing to be able to do where there are competing demands constantly, very many viewpoints, all of which often have a lot of validity, and trying to understand how we can serve the most students possible, and with a focus always, which is my primary focus, on making sure that each and every one of our students has the ability to thrive and to succeed. Equity is core to me. It motivates and governs every decision that I make. I've been an officer on the Black Parent Advisory Group for a very long time, formed a committee at Marin that worked on equity issues a number of years ago. And I bring that focus on equity, that level-headed mindset that I have to be able to problem solve and to work together to solve difficult problems, and my service on the board, and would be honored to continue to serve.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that concludes the opening statements. Next, we have the questions from the club. The first one is the district received 63.8 million. Oh, and then just a refresher for those of you that weren't here for the first part. That's 1 minute for each candidate to respond. And we go to the next person on the list alphabetically by first name, which would be David McKinney would take this one. And then we'll rotate through, and Becky Hopwood would be last. So the district received $63.8 million from the passage of Albany voters in 2024 of Measure L, quote, to improve and construct modern classrooms, facilities, and infrastructure. What are your priorities for that funding?
Thank you for that question. I've had the privilege of attending the school board meetings for the last year. I haven't attended every single one, but I've been to quite a few, and I've gone to some of the public sessions that the architects have provided to show us possible plans. And at their most recent presentation at the board meeting, they showed the idea of moving TK to the ACC, all our TK there, revitalizing the buildings there, and then that'll gives more space in the elementary schools. And I think that creates a logical structure to move forward, that you kind of have to make the space at ACC so they can accept the TK, and then you can work on somewhere like Cornell that is also in great need, because those are the two buildings that have had the least amount of work done in the recent past. So I think those would be the focuses. And I also think something to think about and keep in the back of our mind is our commitment to reducing the effects on climate change, right? So like honoring that commitment that the city has to make sure that we're as best as possible. And I see my timer's at 2 minutes, but I'm going to stop. That distracted me for a second.
I appreciate that. I was about to interrupt.
Yeah, I saw you. Anyways, all right, I'll stop rambling. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. And next up, we have Josh Mahoney.
Yeah, hi. So I've been working as part of the facility master plan steering committee, so working with the architects and the community to kind of figure out what the plan for our facility should look like for the next 25, 30 years. I agree with David. Like we've got a couple of key places where the way the dominoes are going to fall, it makes a lot of sense to invest in the Albany Children's Center first and foremost. First, because quite frankly, I always say to those people, that facility does not reflect the love and care that those teachers give to those students. That facility needs a lot of love. And then that's going to free up some space on our campuses. Cornell is probably the next place we need to invest, and then we'll have to look at it from there. I think it's key to remember we raised $63 million, and unfortunately $63 million is not what it used to be. And as we look at 25, 30 years out, we're probably going to have to figure out how we want to address some other issues that we have when we look at some renovations we're going to need to do at the high school, some more work we need to do at the middle school, and what have you. So we'll start with the ACC and move on.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Josh Mahoney.
I can go again.
Oh, my bad. Next up, we have Melissa Boyd.
Yes, thank you. So as has been said, whenever we have facilities money to spend, first thoughts are the two locations that haven't had the amount of rebuilding and sprucing up that the others have had, and so that's ACC and Cornell. The other thing that I will say is it's a really wonderful opportunity. I got to specifically attend meetings at Cornell to hear from the community, but it's a really wonderful opportunity to be able to listen to and emphasize what we're hearing from teachers, from students, from families around where the particular needs are. And I always defer to people who are actually on those school sites every day. So things like issues with bathrooms in various places or specific needs that would not be necessarily known to people who are just kind of looking at this from outside looking in. It's a really important opportunity to listen to the people who have their feet on the ground, and especially our students and our teachers and administrators, and make sure that we're highlighting what they think is most important.
Okay, thank you. And next up, lastly, for this question, we have Becky Hopwood.
Thank you for the question. I was fortunate enough to serve in the group of people who led the campaign for Measure L, and I am really grateful to the community, first of all, for actually passing it. It represents a significant investment by our taxpayers in our schools, so I want to make sure that we sort of honor the trust they put in them. And also we did share a survey from the district to solicit some community input. And as Josh pointed out, the $63.5 million is a very small amount of the number of millions of dollars we need to actually address all of our facilities needs. One thing I would really want to focus on is looking at this in a sort of sustainable and environmental through that kind of lens. If we're going to be doing major work in our schools, we're trying to make smart sustainable investments basically, and I just think we have the opportunity to do that as a kind of forward planning rather than as an afterthought. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so that's it for that question. The next question is AI can do a lot of things and is changing how students do their work and teachers think about assessing that work. Where do you stand on student use of AI? What should a district policy consider? And for this, we next start with Josh Mahoney.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Yeah, I think AI is here and it's here to stay, and I think we need to be realistic about that. One of the things that we've set as a task for this year from a school district perspective is to come up with an AI policy, knowing that this is an ever-changing landscape. From what we should be focused on, I mean, I really think AI education needs to start with our youngest kids. And it doesn't start with technology, but it starts with some of the key aspects of AI, which is how do you understand trust? How do you understand sources? How do you understand, is that thing you're hearing on the playground a source of truth or just a rumor? And by building that sense of education, that digital literacy at the youngest age, by the time students are interacting with it in later grades, they're going to be much more prepared to deal with a changing landscape. So I believe that we need to put together an AI policy that takes into account age-appropriate standards. It needs to take input from the community, as well as input from our teachers to put something in that's holistic from TK all the way.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Melissa Boyd.
Yes, thank you. I agree with a lot of what Josh said. For one, I'll say also that from a device standpoint, which is not the same as AI, but I believe is related to how our students are interacting, I very much support the current policies that we have at the middle school and at the high school, where students are not accessing their phones. At the middle school, not at all during the day, and at the high school, not during classes. I also very much appreciate and support the recent push and what will continue to specifically solicit feedback from the community, from students, from parents, from teachers, to understand the differentiated ways in which AI can and should be used, perhaps at a high school level that is different from a middle school level, that's different from an elementary level. I think that it's really important to not have a knee-jerk reaction and to make sure that we are specifically honoring like our teachers' needs. There was a little bit of a course correction there with our middle school teachers in particular, and I thought that was really important.
Okay, thank you. And next on this question, we have Becky Hopwood.
Thanks again for the question. I think our approach to technology in general needs to be really thoughtful and balanced. It can be an incredibly powerful tool in education, but it needs to serve learning and not distract from it. And I think this is actually an area where AUSD is doing some important work. We've just launched an educational technology committee. We're developing a broader technology master plan that's going to address the cell phone use, instructional technology, AI, accessibility, digital literacy, etc. But with AI in particular, I don't think we can simply prohibit it. Our students are going to encounter it throughout their education and careers. So we need to teach them how to use it responsibly and ethically while protecting all of the skills that they would usually learn in schools, the development of writing, critical thinking, research, and problem solving skills. And then also with cell phones, we need clear age-appropriate expectations that minimize distraction while recognizing the legitimate educational and safety needs. I want to see everyone, students, educators, families, meaningfully involved in developing these policies. We're not just reacting to the technology, we're preparing our students well.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, David McKinney.
Thank you. I wholeheartedly agree with what everyone else has said. I think AI is here to stay. I don't know exactly where we're going to end up with it, but we have to figure out how to help our students navigate a world where AI seems to be everywhere and growing. I don't know if you can get more than everywhere, but it seems to be everywhere. I think my background as a motivation expert helps me think about this. Students thrive when they feel a sense of belonging, when they've connected to their peers, their teachers, when they are able to guide their own learning, when they care about what they're learning about, when they are thinking deeply and thinking about how they can learn better. And that lens helps me navigate what are the appropriate uses for AI, in addition to making sure they're age appropriate. Working with teachers, listening to how they're using AI, and I think the district did a great job when a group of Marin parents came and brought this to the board at one of the last board meetings. That was awesome. And then the district acted, which I commend them for, to sort of restrict and see what's going on and then figure out what the best path forward is. And I hope to be able to bring my knowledge and experience to help guide that for the district.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have the question about the club has a question about finances. The school district may lose $700,000 in funding if Golden Gate Field sale goes through this winter. What would you do about this? And for this, we start with Josh Mahoney.
I think we're starting.
I think it's Melissa.
Oh, darn it. We start with Melissa Boyd. Thank you. Yeah, let me know if I screw up. Thank you. Melissa.
Yes, thank you. So it's a difficult issue, certainly, because it's not as if there are places that we can stand to lose funding in the district. I will say that whenever we need to make any sort of cuts, assuming that we weren't able to replace that funding and we did need to figure out how to do more with less, that we need to have a focus always on making sure that we're serving our students first and foremost, that we're impacting what's happening in our classroom and on our playgrounds, their mental health and wellness, et cetera, as little as possible, so that if cuts are needing to be made, that those are things that are not going to make it so that the materials that they have, the services that they're being provided, the therapists and the mental health support, et cetera, that's available to them, so that those aren't the areas where cuts are coming from.
Okay, thank you. And next is Becky Hopwood.
Yeah, I think that California school funding is extremely complicated. At the district level, we have a responsibility to be good stewards of our resources. So we need to protect the things that matter most to our students, as everyone else has mentioned or Melissa's just mentioned. So our core instructional program, strong teaching. We also need to figure out ways basically of trying to improve the amount of money we get from the state. We also have a couple of propositions on the ballot this November. I think it's Prop 3, Prop 40, both of which would solicit significant funds for our district. And in fact, if Prop 3 doesn't pass, we are at risk of having to lay off a significant number of teachers. So we need to focus not only on our local taxes, but on statewide provisions and trying to change this whole funding model that we have. And I understand that local communities are sometimes willing to invest in the schools, but it can't replace a decent state funding system that adequately supports public education.
Okay, thank you. And next we have David McKinney.
Thank you. I think as others have said, the first step is to try to find where we can find that plate replacement for that funding. Whether it be, I know folks don't like new taxes, but that is often a way that we can support our schools. And as others have already said, this is a foundation of our community, this school system. Our kids go through there and they exit, and then there are adults in our community. So the most important thing we can do for the well-being of us now and in the future, I think, is making sure that our schools are functioning, our students can thrive, and that's where we, again, if we did have to then make cuts because we can't replace the funding, as everyone has also said, we make sure that the core instructional activities can remain, and you look at the less crucial to the core functions of schooling and retain as much of that as possible, making sure that kids, as I said before, have that sense of belonging in their school, have opportunities to learn something about something that they care about, feel connected to their peers. But I think it's going to require some creative searching to find ways to raise that money. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, for this question, we have Josh Mahoney.
Yeah, the situation in Golden Gate Fields is a real impact on schools, and just to dimensionalize it for people, $700,000, $800,000 may not sound like a lot of money. It's about 1% of our budget. That's probably about 5 teachers, just to make it real. I've met with State Senator Ira Gein's office. I'm meeting with Assemblymember Wicks next week on this topic. Because I think a lot of the conversation about Golden Gate Fields hasn't been happening out in public. And I think we need to make it transparent that a park is fantastic. And I don't have any problem with there necessarily being a park. But I don't think people understand that the cost that we're paying for it, at least in Albany, is going to be a real material impact on our kids. And so I think we've got an opportunity to, one, continue to advocate at a state legislative level, and then 2, publicize this to make sure that the Albany community understands what this is entails and what it means for the kids in the schools.
Okay, thank you. The next question we'll start with, if I'm correct, Becky Hopwood. Thank you. And do you feel the district serves students and teachers from marginalized identities properly? If not, what will you advocate for to induce change?
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I was already unmuted. So I think the district has made great strides in advocating and serving people from marginalized communities. I think that we need to be sure that we are prioritizing inclusion. So for me, that means that every student feels that they belong, that they're respected, they're valued, and that they have access to the same high quality educational opportunities. So that means that we have to ensure that students with disabilities receive supports in IEPs and 504 plans. It means supporting multilingual learners in languages. So language isn't a barrier to accessing grade level learning. And it just means so having inclusive instruction and curriculum initially, and who has access to advanced courses and enrichment, etc. And we need to listen to families as well, and particularly those who may face language, cultural, economic, or accessibility barriers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have David McKinney.
Thank you. As Becky said, I think the district has made strides, but still has a way to go. Students in different subgroups that we focus on because the government requires us, but also because we care, are still performing disproportionately lower on average. And so that's something we need to address through things like making sure the curriculums we use reflect the students and also give students an opportunity to learn about and understand people that they may not identify with, right? Broadening people's horizons and also providing those similar others for them to learn about. The teaching staff, the staff of the school should reflect students, their identities. We also want to make sure that the way we greet students, the way we interact with students is warm and welcoming and makes everyone feel safe and cared for. I think we also need to think about how we measure whether or not we're doing a good job at this. Having attended school boards, I think the district does a good job, but could improve in the types of data and the way it analyzes data. Right now, we don't actually look at any cohort of students. We just look at all the students in one year and then all the students the next year.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Josh Mahoney.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with what my predecessor said in terms of we've made progress, but there's a ways to go, and our data shows us that. I mean, I think, while I agree with David that there's an opportunity to be better with our data, the fact that we're looking at data and having a conversation, not just at a top line about how the school is performing, but understanding what that looks like both in performance from like a reading and math perspective, but also what does it look like from a sense of belonging perspective, and do our kids and our families feel like they see themselves in the district. So we've got an opportunity to be a lot better with that. From what I do as a board member, I think thinking about the position on the board, one of the key things you can do is ask questions and bring attention to things. By asking those questions whenever something is presented to you, to dig a level deeper into the data and the conversation, to make sure we're having a conversation about equity or these historically marginalized groups. By doing that, that's how you start to bring attention and focus to it, and then have the district actually take action against the recording. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Melissa, next up we have Melissa Boyd.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So to answer it quickly, I think we're doing a good job, and I think that we need to do better, as everyone has said. There's a great, it's an honor and a privilege and really wonderful to be a high performing district. But the other side of that is that you need to be careful about who is high performing, who is having the ability to be able to really thrive and succeed in our district. And over the last few years in particular, I believe that there's been an important shift such that if we aren't able to serve where in an equitable way, where each of our students need us to be, then we aren't high performing. We aren't checking the boxes and meeting the needs that we need to. Things like having a family engagement coordinator, which is a new role I'm hoping we'll be able to reach out to populations of students and families who haven't been as vocal, haven't been showing up at the board meetings, aren't going to advocate for themselves in the same way, which I think is really important. And having a focus on paying attention to these students, diversifying faculty, diversifying our curriculum is central.
All right, thank you. So that's it for that question. The next one is an audience question. It says, how do you think the district should handle teaching about sensitive topics like Palestine? And we start with David McKinney.
Oh, man. Okay, great. I'm happy to go first here. I think that we should take an approach where we think about all humans as having dignity and the right to be in their homes and live a dignified life, and allow the presentation and the discussion of verified facts about what is happening in Palestine, especially at our older grade levels. I think we'd still, of course, want to confer with our community and make sure that whatever approach we're taking reflects the desires and beliefs of the community. Obviously, this is a hot button topic, so much so that I am struggling to find the words right now because, but I think that I think we need to be honest with our students about what's going on in the world, and we can't pretend like there aren't terrible things happening on the other side of the globe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Josh Mahoney.
Yeah, this is obviously an extremely sensitive topic, but it's also an important one. We need to be able to have conversations in our schools that are age level appropriate about things that are happening in the world today and things that have happened in the world historically. We have what's called the controversial issues policy for things like this that are possibly contentious within the district. And it requires us to give that the importance of that policy is it allows us to have those conversations by putting those kind of safeguards in place. It means that when certain points of view are put forward, you need to share the alternative point of view as appropriate. It means that those sort of topics need to be be reviewed by administrators as appropriate to make sure that teaching of that topic or the conversation about that topic is appropriate as well. And so, and those things are going to be, and those are the types of policies we put in place to help kind of allow us to address these issues, at the same time empower teachers and educators to have the right sort of conversation.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Melissa Boyd.
Yes, thank you for the question. As Josh was saying, we have a controversial topics policy in place that as he was saying, does require things like making sure that you're, as a teacher, that you're presenting multiple sides to an issue, that you're speaking with administrators beforehand, that people are aware of what you're going to be presenting. I think that it's extremely important to make sure that we're being very careful, very respectful, having multiple views at the table when we're discussing these things in the first place, not oversimplifying. Sometimes there have been sort of similarities made to, well, you're teaching slavery or you're teaching racism, like civil rights movement sort of stuff. How are you not teaching this? There is a difference when there's a discrepancy as to what facts actually are. And these are complicated issues. Oversimplifying does not help. I think what helps is being respectful, making sure that our teachers feel protected and so that they know how to act so that they can lead these discussions in a way that they're not worried about retribution, and making sure that we're respecting multiple viewpoints and aiming for collaboration.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, we have Becky Hopwood.
Thank you. That's a great question. So that issue, Palestine issue, but amongst other highly sensitive political issues, is exactly why we need clear standards for teaching controversial issues. Our students should be able to learn about history and current events, including issues that are deeply painful and contested. But instruction needs to be age appropriate, it needs to be factually grounded and intellectually honest. And we should not be asking teachers to promote a political viewpoint. And we also shouldn't avoid important subjects simply because they are controversial. So our goal should be to help students understand complexity, evaluate evidence, and treat one another with dignity. And it's one of the many reasons why updating our current board policy 6144 is important. And that is something that is going to be coming to the board in open session at some point soon. So we need clear guidance that supports teachers while giving families confidence that the instruction will be accurate and thoughtful and focused on learning rather than political advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then the next question is one from the public. There's been a few questions from the public talking about the traffic and transit to the schools. And here's one that says morning drop-off is chaotic at best and dangerous at worst. The district has made commitments to climate action, yet has not made significant investments in supporting safe routes to schools. What are your plans to better ensure students can safely walk and bike to school? And for this, we'll start with Josh Mahoney.
Yeah, thanks for the question. And I go out for a morning run, and I'm often running back past the middle school, watching the middle school principal direct traffic in front of the middle school to make sure kids can safely get across the street, which just shouldn't be the case. Like, we should feel, I mean, let's be clear. I feel one of the things I love about Albany is my kids were able to walk to school. And I wanted them to be able to walk to school safely. So I think the tough thing about this issue is it's not just a school issue. It's a school issue working with the city and other entities to kind of make this happen. I've broached this subject with a couple of members of council about, like, how do we take that on? And it's just, quite frankly, it's a tricky one. It's about making it a priority for both. It's a priority for the district, but how do we make it a priority and find the funding and the appropriate action for the city as well? So it's something we need to get better at. And it's a thing really about working together and working in concert with the city, which is we can improve as a district.
Okay, thank you. And next, Melissa Boyd.
Yes, thank you for the question. I too have seen Principal Mapes directing students to cross the street safely, and I really appreciate his commitment to our schools and all of our principals' commitment to our schools. It's an important issue. I do think that the school district has certainly tried to make available, or we've worked with the city to make sure that we're having crossing guards available at as many of the busy intersections as we possibly can, and in addition have principals sort of helping out. There have been certain areas where the school loading zones have been sort of like increased, or signage has been increased, and messages are being really made and emphasized to families from school communication. Also things like, walk and bike to school day, and, those sort of events that the school district has done where they're sort of giving out prizes and things to encourage students to get to school if they can without cars. Of course, everyone who is attending our schools is not living close enough that they can walk to school, or perhaps doesn't have the ability to. So,
All right, thank you. And next is Becky Hopwood.
Thanks for the question. And I think it was asked really from a safety perspective, but I think the safe routes to school should be both a safety priority and a sustainability priority. So our students should be able to walk or bike or roll or take transit, which is less likely, but they need to be able to do all those things safely. And families who drive should be able to do so without creating conditions, dangerous conditions around our campuses. So we need to work closely with the city. I mean, this has been coming up a lot recently with the start of school, and we need practical improvements, maybe safer crossings, intersections, better signage. I think the speed limit is already pretty low, so I'm not sure we can do much about that. Traffic calming measures, and just reducing congestion at drop off, and particularly around Cornell School, it's really a difficult spot. So again, encouraging walking, biking, carpooling, and transit where those options are safe and practical. We really need to listen to our students and families and neighbours about the specific trouble spots that they experience. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have David McKinney.
Thank you. I cross Marin every day to and from in the afternoon, and there's definitely been a couple times where I was quite surprised by how fast someone was going and how little regard they had for myself and my child. So I feel strongly about this, and I'm glad someone has brought it to the front here. I think, as everyone has said, it's about working with the city to find the possible solutions, working with the community to listen to how are people getting to school, how do people want to get to school. There's a trade-off between the folks that want to drive and need to drive, as Melissa pointed out. Not everyone has that luxury to be able to take a 5-minute walk and be at school. And so it's just figuring out what are the community's needs, what are folks looking for, what are they willing to have in place, and then finding that path forward in conjunction, in collaboration with the city, to find those places where we can afford to implement something that will work to increase the safety. I'm not sure if I agree. Solano slow, Marin feels like a highway sometimes, so I feel like maybe the speed limit there could be lower. Just want to add that.
Okay, thank you. And I believe that's it for that question. And so we are going to now go to your final 1-minute statements. Let's see. So that was, oh yeah, so actually it would be Margaret will make a reappearance if the tech gods are smiling on us. And then it will be Melissa Boyd for a 1-minute closing statement. So this is Margaret, and Gabi, let me know if you cannot hear this.
Hello again. I want to thank the Albany Democratic Club for hosting this forum and for your deep commitment to our public schools. As an Ocean View and ACC parent and healthcare finance professional, I offer a balanced combination of executive financial skills, active district volunteer experience, and an everyday stake in our children's future. If elected, I will safeguard our district's budget to make every dollar work for the student, listen to our educators and community to strive to have every voice heard, as well as advocate for our facilities to ensure safe schools and equal opportunity for every child. Please visit my website, margaret4albany.org, to learn more about me, and I would love to hear from you directly with any questions, ideas, or concerns. I'd be honored to earn your vote and your endorsement, and I thank you and have a good night.
Okay, so let me stop that share. And next up, we have Melissa Boyd.
Thank you, everyone, for your time tonight. I come to this office and ask to be reelected with a great deal of respect for the role, for the responsibility of having a microphone and being able to highlight and emphasize the needs of students and families who have not potentially been heard as much in the past. And having had as much time on the board as I've had, I know that it is important to have a North Star because there are various problems and issues coming at you all the time. I served during the COVID years, so I know from which I speak. And so having something that is grounding you and centering you. And for me, that's fighting for our students to provide resources and opportunities in an equitable way to make sure that students have a chance to learn from people who look like them, learn like them, express gender like them, etc. Having that focus, I think, is very important. I come to this role without ego, with a great deal of humility, and would very much appreciate being supported and endorsed and being able to continue serving. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Becky Hopwood.
Thank you again to the club for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm running for election because I believe deeply in public education and in what our schools mean to the Albany community. I've been part of this community for 24 years as a parent, a volunteer, and a school board member. I've served as both board president and vice president, and I've helped lead successful parcel tax and bond measure campaigns because I believe our schools are worth investing in. The past few years have brought significant change to AUSD, and I'm proud that I've helped provide calm, thoughtful leadership through those transitions while keeping our focus where it belongs, on students, educational equity, academic excellence, and student well-being. If re-elected, I'll continue to bring that experience, collaboration, and steady leadership to the board. I'll listen carefully, work constructively with our educators and community, and make decisions based on what is best for all of our students. I'd be honoured to have your endorsement and your vote, and to continue serving the Albany community I've been proud to call home for 24 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next up, we have David McKinney.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight, listening in. Thank you to the Democratic Club for hosting us. And thank you to anyone who's watching this on a recording after the fact. I'm so excited by this opportunity to support our community by serving on the school board. I think that my long experience as an educator, researching education, and currently as a parent provide me unique perspectives that I can bring to the board to help usher and guide our district forward. I think schools can be and should be magical places where students feel cared for, where they can find themselves, pursue their passions, pursue their interests, learn deeply, and leave our school district better than they started so that they can thrive out there in the real world. This world is complex, and we should care for our children, and I am utterly dedicated to that. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, we have Josh Mahoney.
Thank you so much for hosting. Thank you guys for staying up late, and I know it's going later even after this as you guys make decisions and think about things. I'd be honored to have an endorsement, and I'd be honored to have your vote. I've been really proud to serve on the Albany School Board. I've been the vice president, I'm the current president, and it's been an amazing thing to watch about how do we serve in this role in a community that is so focused on kids. I always joke people didn't necessarily move to Albany for the nightlife, they moved here for the schools, and to be able to serve on a board that has an impact on our kids is a tremendous honor. If I have the honor of being reelected to the board, I will continue to focus on my key areas, which are financing, facilities, and equity and student achievement, and do so with a lens of what's best for kids. Often we think about what's best for adults and everything that's going on, because those are the people that are sitting at the table. But at the end of the day, we're all here for our kids. We moved to Albany for our kids, very many of us, and those are the things we have to make as a board. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that, we conclude the school board portion. We thank you greatly for everyone able to attend and really put the face to the name that we'll see on our ballot and give us a sense of where you're coming from and what your positions are. Many of the candidates have shared their information about their campaign and how to get in touch with them, which we've posted on our website. And I'm going to put that in the chat, as well as the this one here is the direct link that tells you something about their campaigns and the candidates themselves. And I know, David, you submitted one a little bit later, which we will add when we can and very shortly. And we look forward if Chris McDaniels can produce one as well. That would be great. And with that, we say goodbye and good luck for Ms. Hopwood to catch her flight. And we ask everyone who is, we require everyone who is not a voting member to leave the meeting so that we can now have our closed meeting. And I will stop the recording.